All right, that's fixed. Again, this is the Root and Slam Poetry Series. I am your guest MC this month, Vertigo Xavier. Tom Noy will be back emceeing this show next month. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's featured poet, put your hands together for Phoenix Andre Clouden.
Hello, Root Cafe. How y'all doing? Once again, my name is Phoenix Andre Clouden. This is actually my first feature here at the Root Cafe. And usually when I do a feature, I always like to open up with a poem by another poet so that you can warm you up a little bit and get familiar with someone you may not know. Recently, or at least I think about 3 or 4 weeks ago, the poetry world had a very sad passing in the name of Jack McCarthy. Poet was 96 years old. He lived to be 96 years old and was a fantastic writer, very brilliant slam poet. And I wanted to share one of his poems with you guys that I love very much. It's called I Wouldn't Want to Be Jesus. Oh, I wouldn't mind doing a miracle or two. And as Jesus, I'd have no problem with the cool sayings. Hey, if I knew the people following me around were memorizing everything I said, and that I'd still be getting quoted 2,000 years later, I'd come up with some real zingers. Just substitute Republicans for Pharisees, I'd be halfway home. Walking town to town with my posse, I'd love that. I know how when guys get together in some desperate enterprise, everybody's sense of humor gets sharpened. And if we survive, we remember those times as much for the laughter as the desperation. How would I feel about some honey washing my feet with her hair? I might say, darling, don't you think that's a little over the top? But that wouldn't be a deal breaker. Turning the other cheek would be hard for me. But I think I could do it if I was sure it was the right thing. And I think Jesus was that sure. And how much harder could it be than the balancing act of, yes, I am your tender, sensitive poetry guy, but I'm still Irish, and don't fuck with me. Crucifixion? I have to admit that if I knew they were going to make an icon out of me and my skivvies, I think about doing less sermonizing and more working out. Okay, crucifixion is not something I look forward to, but it was just one day, and it was over at 3 o'clock. I'd be more afraid of it if they were torturing me so I'd betray my friends. Because in the end, I would betray my friends. And that'd be the worst part. But they were torturing Jesus just for sport. And put it in perspective, we can watch bloodier scenes than that on TV any night of the week. For me, the hardest thing of all would be the taunting. When they started talking shit like, if you really are the Son of God, come down from the cross, blah, 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 blah. 10 seconds of that, I'd be down on the ground in someone's face like, you want me? You got me, bitch. No resurrection, no Christianity, just squander everything on one irresistible punchline, biblically misdirected, tragically mistimed, but nonetheless curiously satisfying. But the real reason I wouldn't want to be Jesus, the deal breaker to end all deal breakers, is all the subsequent centuries sitting at the right hand of my Father and weeping at all the inhumanities, atrocities, abuses being committed in my name. If I were Jesus, I'd never stop crying at all the shit going down every hour of every day in my name. My friend Muhammad here feels exactly the same. Again, that's a poem by Jack McCarthy, a fantastic poet. If you have not discovered him, you should. He's fantastic. He has a life full of work, so you can never go wrong. The next poem I'm going to do, I guess I'll just pick the top one here. I'm recently working on a chapbook coming out probably in June. It's called Eating Yellow Snow. Yeah. This is one of the poems that will be featured in that chapbook. It's a recently new poem that I wrote. And it's called Lessons My Stepmother Taught Me. If being a Power Ranger will keep that smile on your face, then go be a Power Ranger. Imagination is always worth preserving. Never, ever be afraid of making money. Know that no one is really ugly until they show you how ugly they really are. That boy kissed you because he likes you. It's up to you to decide whether you like him back. My name? You can call me... Oh, who's that? It's Coltrane, Hendrix, Ella, Sinatra. Yes, music existed before you did. Always respect the originals. It's okay if you don't pray, but eventually, you're going to want to ask God for something. Ghosts are real, but they're terrified of your nightlight. Your father? People can change. My name? It's never, ever be afraid of change. There's too much love going around for you to keep it to yourself. Share. Blood may be thick, but water is endless. You still need both to survive. I'm sorry about your mother. About your mother. Not sorry for her. You shouldn't be either. People will make their own choices and mistakes. Make sure you know the difference. My name is Catherine. Call me what you feel is best. Okay. I should mention, I've been a coach for the Cleveland Youth Poetry Slam team for about 4 years. And we go to an international poetry festival known as Brave New Voices. And I was recently there. This past year we were in San Francisco. And I had a workshop with a poet by the name of Ken Arkine. He's a Denver poet. Very fantastic guy. He made us write an open letter to an inanimate object from our past. And I don't know what goes through a person's mind when they're in a poetry workshop, but this is what I came up with. It's a poem to my sweatpants that I had in 2nd grade. Please forgive me for the character that I'm going to portray here. Okay. Hey, motherfucker! You remember me? I've been thinking while I was in and you was on the outs, playboy. Hey, yo, so what's been good? So you don't want to speak to a nigga? It's cool. Hey, remember when we was in 2nd grade, though? How grandmas didn't want you to rock them new jeans to school? Nah, she wanted you to rock me, playboy. Them deep purple sweatpants, cuz. Hey, remember when we showed up to school and everybody was buzzing like, look at what that fool wearing, though. He got on his grandma's outfit, though. Yo, that was the happiest day of my life, cousin. But yo, remember when we was in class that one time? You remember. This is the first day you got some erections, son. And you had to stand up in front of class and shit. And you turned all red and shit. But it was really purple, though, because you black as fuck. Yeah. And we was matching after that, though. But yo, good times, baby, good times. But yo, how come we don't kick it no more like that for real? Oh, that's right. I remember. You threw a nigga under the hamper after that. I served 22 years because of you. You don't know the things I seen. Sweaty undershirts, bloody panties, shit stained drawers, dog. Did I deserve that, Playboy? We was tight. Mainly because I was like 2 sizes small. But still, I thought we was going to be together forever. It's cool, it's cool. I ain't hurt. Shh. I ain't going to be no bitch. I got a new spot, though. On Dresser Drawer Avenue. I've been chilling with my homie Suspenders, my dude Snowsuit, and my old dude Windbreaker, all my cousins from Out of Season and Salvation Army Boulevard. Every now and again, we all get together to play spades with my homie Bowtie, and we just talk about the good old days. Did that one so I can ease into a much darker poem. Okay. I never been a fan of writing about things at the time that they happened. I usually wait years and then I write a poem about it. So one of the things I've wanted to write about for a long time was a young man by the name of Tyler Clementi. He was a gay college student who was bullied in college, and one of his roommates put a video of him with his partner on the internet, and he was bullied and tortured to the point where he committed suicide. And I never got around to writing the poem until this year, so I decided to share it with you guys. It's called Ghostwriter. The scariest thing about ghosts is that you cannot see them. Even when you can feel them pushing you to the edge of your decisions, fingertips nudging you past rationality until leaps of faith seem like your only salvation, they would have you believe that it's worth it, that your last breath is the most valuable and it only matters how you take it. They will talk about you till you die. So Tyler saw it fit to take the words out of their mouths. If the world could be quiet for long enough, they might hear a heart drop, or the sound a betrayal makes when trust abandons those who deserve it most. Ghosts hide behind screen names and avatars, intimidate with false personalities. Tyler let them win. Let their empty words shatter his backbone. He didn't know that ghosts have never bled truthfully. They are whispers, making mockery of the things they can't attach to. You knew they had gravestones embedded in the dirt they said about you. How could you not take apparitions seriously? Men are not made like buildings. They do not rise at whims only to fall when people have forgotten their value. You don't have to believe in ghosts for them to kill you. They are in the habit of breaking a man's skin until he's uncomfortable in it too. Maybe you had to die. To make us think before we type, you had to be the martyr, the catalyst for an uproar. Tyler, those ghosts have names now, faces, and children, just like you. You've made them afraid of their own spirits. They have to wonder what kind of whispers will reach their children's eyes. Will comments of "I hope you die," "go hang yourself," "blow your brains out backwards," will they touch the smallest parts of their kids' hearts and bring forth their own apocalypse? Okay. Now with that, I can go back to a happier poem. And yeah, this will be fun. This is also rather new, and I love doing this poem because everyone can relate to it. It's called "When a Guy Who Sags His Pants Speaks to a Female." The only difference in becoming the coveted, adored, and appreciated wife, or the easy, dismissed slut on the side, is in the numbers. Upon first introduction, count. Count the 11 times he says baby before asking what your name is. Count the amount of seconds it takes between him stating the name his boys call him and then reaching for a cell phone, as if something as arbitrary as an alias is worthy of repeated contact. Count the 37 times he's had to pull up his pants just to keep them from falling to his knees. although he never really struggles to bring them to his waist. Notice how many times you see him smiling. Then count how many times those smiles are in your direction. Notice how he never really laughs at the things you say, only chuckles. Pretend you didn't notice the 6 times he playfully raised his hand at you. Or the 4 times he said, man, stop playing, man, I don't like really be like on that shit like that for real. Pretend not to notice how, man, like I don't really like be on that shit like that for real isn't grammatically correct. By the time you have reached this point, he has had to pull up his pants 1,617 times, still failing consistently at bringing them to his waist. Count the 7 times he's used the word sex in several different phrases just today. For example, sexual, sexy, sexting. Hey, have we had sex yet? Count the 14 times he said the word conversate. Count the 14 times you've had to correct him with the word converse. Count the 22 times he has whined after hearing the word no. Keep in mind that babies are the only ones who throw fits when they don't get what they want. 1. The amount of times he will explain his behavior or actions. 126, I'm sorry, is 126, I forgive you, is 126, I'm not taking this shit anymore. 126, I'll never do it again. So when you're done adding, find the time to subtract. 126 minus 22, minus 14, minus 1,617, minus she didn't mean anything to me, minus I'll slap the shit out of you, minus you're stuck with me forever, minus that ain't my fault, equals. When a guy who sags his pants speaks to a female, there's only one thing to keep in mind, that if he doesn't have the time, knowledge, or energy to pull up his own fucking pants, then he's only gonna bring you down with them. All right. This last poem I'm going to do for you guys, and then I'm going to get out of your hair. This is one of my favorite poems. I've actually had this poem for about 6 years, and this is the first day that I've memorized it. So, yeah. All right. This poem is called We Cannot Read Poems in Heaven. Wait till that's done. Take your time. It's cool. He's really getting that latte. Okay. All right. Sweet. Thanks. It was like I always dreamt it would be. The way I'd always seen in movies and read in books. We sat in oak wood rocking chairs on a marble floor in a wide brick house near an unlit fireplace. And we drank wine, ate cheese from a city we couldn't pronounce, regaled each other with tales of times gone by. We were near dying, all of us. We had smelled the roses and frolicked in lilies all day by now. We had watched time swivel and turn old things new again and back again. We sang the songs of the places we visited that some of us had lived. We remembered thinking that death is sweet as long as life is long. We all used to dance. Now our limbs, without the strength to support our weight, simply rocked us in oak wood chairs, comfortable and satisfied now. We had lived our lives. So we drank wine and ate cheese and read poems as we painted our voices with a memory of a time we can't let go, when we were young and full of outdoor dreams, saw our future painted in our words. We were the revolutionaries, the dreamers, the architects of our next generation, the true poets, we like to believe. And who would ever call us wrong? Now the 6 of us, rocking slowly, our chairs supplementing the motion our feet used to do, our hands still passionate enough to add color to our images. Is it possible to still be alive, even now, as our bodies lose their girth and writhe in weakness? We can still match the fervor of our words as we once did. Even in the comfort of this house, we share amongst ourselves and can still feel our words pushing out into the world and catching the ears of the next true poets, as they would believe. And why shouldn't they? We sat around for hours talking of the simplicity of sound and air, the music and our heart and bones, the things we never knew would be greater than ourselves. It's like I always dreamt it would be, like I'd always seen in my mind. A room filled with friends and laughter, with wine and cheese, rocking back and forth so hard you would swear we were dancing. We will only regret dying if it means we cannot read poems in heaven. Thank you.
All right. I'm not used to having the camera so close to the stage area. I've usually got it so far back that you can see everything from the poet's ankles up to like 5 feet above their head. So, all right, time for a poetry slam. But first, another big round of applause for Phoenix. All right. We've got 3 competitors in tonight's slam. And we have 5 judges lined up. All right. Judges, your job is to give each of tonight's competing performances a score from 0 to 10. 0 being, dear poet, don't ever pick up a pen again. 10 being the absolute mind-blowing best thing you've ever heard. You can use a decimal point. Please, just 1 decimal point. I'm an editor, not a mathematician. Do not let the audience sway your scoring. Stay consistent with your scoring. Audience, make noise for the poet and do your best to influence the judges. You hear me? Before we can get tonight's competition started, we first need to allow the judges to calibrate, which means a sacrificial poet, in which I'll do that. Judges, you will be giving the poem I'm about to do a score just like you would any other poem in the competition. I'm not actually in the competition, but you're using that as your calibration number. When the other poets that come up here are better than me, you'll give them a better score. If for some reason they're not as good as me, you'll give them a lower score. Just seeing more people walk in. That's a good thing. All right. Dear spammers, while I applaud your use of clever wording to get around my spam filters, you're doing it all wrong. Offering someone who once weighed 394 pounds a product guaranteed to make your pants too tight might not be the most effective marketing strategy. I already have products that can do that. They're called bacon and chocolate-covered bacon. Instead, why not appeal to my sense of the fantastic, offer to make my magic beanstalk reach the land of giants? Or how about my patriotic instincts, say you'll transform my model rocket into a throbbing cruise missile? Don't you want to sell me magic mushrooms that'll grow my NES game from Chubby Cherub to Blaster Master? But from my experience, this just isn't right. What you're trying to sell me is the wrong approach. I get off just fine. This needs to be about her. A little extra swelling isn't going to help much if it does nothing to lengthen our 45 seconds of ecstasy. Wouldn't a better product be something that mixes caffeine for longer stamina with a mild muscle relaxer to loosen a man's jaw? Hold on. Forget I said any of that. Give me a couple months. My junk mail sales pitch will find its way to your inbox soon enough. All right, judges, get those scoreboards up in the air. From low to high, the sacrificial poet scored a 6.1, a 7, a 7.3, a 7.5, and an 8. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what to do. Our first competitor of the evening. I should probably have my clock ready. If I can remember what pocket I put my phone in for my stopwatch. Okay, stopwatch ready to go. All right, our first competitor of the evening. Free.
Amber's alert is in effect. Another young girl is taken. The hourglass has started. In 96 hours, the salt will run out. The tragedy of human trafficking plagues the U.S. and third world countries. Modern day slavery sees no color. Its nose is just sniffing the border for virgins. Sex should not have price tags hanging from its innocence. Perversion will always find ways to creep in our doorways when we are sleeping with our eyes wide open. Do not disturb signs ignored by slave master ignorance. The sex trade is a $32 billion industry, and the government is spending cash on car company bailouts and senseless terrorism instead of safe houses for these victims. Gluttons for green ripping unripe souls to pieces. Child's fruit stained with a tainted permanent Sharpie. Injustice tattooed on their genitals. Shackle prints embedded in their ankles. Skin connected to nail beds, eaten to the core, screaming, "Someone, please save me. I don't want to be any man's play toy. Fair exchange is no robbery, but prostituting me with no salary is. If my parents could just find me, you would be pleading for your life, sucking the barrel of my daddy's shotgun, but I wouldn't let him kill you. Your blood doesn't belong on your victim's hands. See, even you deserve mercy as you live to die in misery. These drugs can no longer contain me. It's time to expose the Peach State's dirty little secrets. Human trafficking, an illicit trade more prevalent than combined sales of marijuana, heroin, guns, and crack cocaine. Even in the midst of this terrible crime, I am keeping my faith. Operation Cross Country will find me before the salt runs out.
All right, judges. All right, from low to high, Free scored an 8, an 8.5, an 8.5, a 9.5, and a 9.8. Give it up for Free. Our sacrificial poet had a score of 21.8. Our next competitor is Julia Jones.
Revolutionaries don't got job security. They compete with rats for cheese and strays for shelter. Miss Ruby D. We have been begging with our hands cut off for years now. It never gets old. Our pride won't let it. Following our hearts has not paid the bills. If they did, I have something they want. Of course I'd sell it. Being homeless and hungry is as close to freedom as death is, so give me chains. Give me suit jacket and slacks, because nudity costs up to $5,000 and a night in jail. You say try harder, but my nubs for feet are numb. It's time to believe in the system. Catch the rat, kill the rat, eat the rat, and lately, for rent, hiring, and accepting applications has been the cheese in the trap. My children haven't seen their parents in weeks because food and warmth are hard to come by. Those pricks with big bellies and big wallets keep stuffing their faces with it. I want to be that prick. I don't want my children to draw pictures of mommy with no face because they don't see me enough. I'm tired of waiting for some man who no one's ever seen before to tell me I'm not worth the help I pay for. He never came by each month of that year to see if we qualify. He did not watch us not eat, not bathe, not wash because food, water, and sanitation cost too much. Does calloused hands qualify us? My eyes have not seen the sun since my tears blurred my vision, and I can't tell if my legs are beneath me. They've been playing catch up for so long. But we don't qualify, because our hearts have ruled our lives when we should have thought to please the man first. I've had enough of him taking, so give him my soul. Maybe he'll invest it and give me what it's worth, or the difference.
All right. Let's see some scores. All right. From low to high, we have a 7, an 8.5, an 8.5, an 8.9, and a 9.5. Give it up for Julia. Free had a score of 26.5. Our next competitor is Red.
She wishes that her rational mind would cease to exist as thoughts of him begin and then persist. His sensual smacks have knocked her pride aside. You see, he knows the secret. Real women love a nice hard ride. He binds her form, her physical form, with silken scarves and simultaneously releases her more carnal desires. With him, her body has never been afraid to trust. Her rational mind, though, not so easily won over. You see, pesky thoughts, they begin to creep in by whispering in her ear, can he love you? Will he love you? Can you ever be enough? She pleads inside, please, let me enjoy this time. It is so fleeting, and his kisses, they are so sweet. I'm just gonna relax into his passion. He, being oblivious to her inner trials, pulls her warmth onto his pride, flips her on her knees, pulls her hair, she arches her back, and oh no, here they come again. Can he love you? Will he love you? Can you ever be enough? She pleads inside, please, damn you to hell. I'm just gonna sit back and let him spread these beautiful caramel thighs and explore until he finds that luscious prize deep inside. Who the hell needs a rational mind?
All right, let's see some scores. All right, from low to high, we have a 7, an 8, an 8, an 8.3, and an 8.7. Give it up for red. All right, Julia had a score of 25.9. And red has a score of 24.3. Give it up for all the competing poets. That means receiving 3 points for a third place finish tonight, we have red. 4 points for a second place finish, Julia Jones. And 5 points for a first place finish tonight, Free. LakeEffectPoetry.com. You can watch the ongoing scoring. We have more qualifiers coming up. We should have a qualifier here next month. We have a qualifier coming up in Canton next week at the First Friday Poetry Spectacular. It'll be at the Karma Cafe near Belden Village. If you can make the trip down, we also have featured poet Scott Woods, former president of Poetry Slam Inc. That's one of my regular shows. Your regular MC will be back next month, Tom Noy. Give it up for Tom. Big thank you for the Root Cafe for letting this show happen every month. Thank you, everyone who came out tonight. Have a wonderful night.